Today I'm giving you a tour of Superstition downtown. This was a project of love, all in the time of COVID. People thought we were crazy to do this, but we had to just keep rolling, and we're so glad we did. We renovated this historic building. It did not look anything like this when we first moved in. It was actually more like a homeless shelter that was all caged up with barbed wire and different fencing and wood on all the windows. Everything was busted out. So we spent an entire year renovating this historic building. It was once the original Asian market, and this used to actually be Chinatown in Phoenix, which now it's definitely changed hands a few times. But we're going to show you around inside. So the back facade, we have a great parking area. We have additional parking with a sign, because one of our fallbacks is people don't know how to find their way in here. So we tried to make this back door the main entrance. It's where our host stand is, and I'll show you all that as we move forward. And we're actually going to add some more signage back here too. One of the things that people always say is we don't know how to find you, yet we have logos everywhere and logos, so hopefully it'll catch on pretty quick. The other thing that's kind of cool is, I don't know if we'll see it go by, but we're right across the street from a light rail station. So you have the opportunity to utilize a light rail rather than drinking and driving, which we always try and promote. We also have some great bicycle parking, and people actually use this. So we have these custom made bike racks so that you can bike around and hit all your favorite spots that are popping up downtown now, which is really cool. So this building is on the National Historic Registry, which is kind of exciting for us. And we were part of an adaptive reuse program with the city where there's incentives to, rather than knocking down historic pieces of architecture in the city, is to renovate them. And so we work really closely with the city of Phoenix to make this happen. And this is kind of a really cool homage to the original owner, Jim Ong. And there was actually a robbery where he was shot here. I think it was in the 50s. And so we kept, as part of historical preservation, we had to keep the original facade to look exactly as it would have looked originally. We had everything power washed. This was kind of crusty and old looking when we first moved in, and we were allowed to add lighting that wasn't here originally because there are, part of the lighting code. We also sandblasted this great awning that is part of the original structure. It was just painted like a weird turquoisey color, and all the paint was peeling off. So we sandblasted this back to its original steel, which I think looks beautiful. And then we tried to add some like old-fashioned elements, like the kind of gaslight looking lanterns as you walk in. And the double door is our entrance and exit, but we also had to maintain an emergency exit because of panic bars and silly codes. The other thing we wanted to introduce was outdoor seating in the front, but city code does not allow it because we don't have enough space on this sidewalk. We'd have to rip out the planter in order to be able to do that, and we wanted a planter, so I think it looks rather pretty. So we also added these really cool steel saguaros, which is part of our logo for downtown. If you look at the logo for the downtown location, we've tried to keep it kind of retro Arizona looking. Something that was very part of the period, which is this penny tile. And so all of our tiled areas are in penny tile, and we had this really cute, they call it a doormat made, that says "Hello Honey," because mead is made from honey. And the year of the building is from 1928. Still standing, but more beautiful than ever. And people like to take, like if you have cute toenails, they'll do a little toenail shot right here for Instagram. So anyone with cute nails, not me, but I don't want to see these feet. One thing that was really crazy cool was this floor. This is the original floor. It's made out of beechwood, and it was all covered in plywood. And we thought that when we pulled the plywood up, there'd be nothing underneath. And we were going to actually pour concrete and concrete all this in rather than do the hardwood. And when we pulled the plywood back, lo and behold, beautiful original flooring from underneath. We had the entire floor removed, refinished, and then replaced because we pulled out, we tiled this area. So the woodworker did very custom woodworking and installed the floor so that everything fit perfectly. We had to pull some of the rotten boards out. Some had really big screw holes and nail holes in them, and they ripped those out, threw those out, and redid the entire original floor, which I think turned out beautiful. It just gives everything a really warm feeling, and you get that feeling when you walk across it, you get that traditional wood floor feeling. So we did have to add a few trusses underneath to make it stable because the building is so old. All the casings are redone. This was all just rotten casings, and we had a woodworker redo the whole thing, totally custom, trying to pick out colors that were symbolic of the period. So I kind of get that like Washington, D.C. speakeasy feeling when you come in here with the very plush colors of the chairs, and then the white and brick, which is beautiful. Again, we sandblasted everything in here. We had to restore some of the brick behind the bar. And speaking of the bar, so this is all Arizona Ponderosa pine planks, similar to the bar that we have up in our Prescott location. We wanted to have a little of the same down here, so you kind of had that same feeling when you walked into Superstition downtown. The other thing that's really cool about the bar is these are all barrel staves, and within these barrels, they were wine barrels, but they were all filled with mead. And so we disassembled the barrels. I had my kids actually inside of most of the wine barrels and whiskey barrels. There's charcoal, and so I had my kids grinding and sanding the inside of charcoal barrels for all summer last summer, so we could reuse the staves and they wouldn't be all, charcoal-y. This actually is what the inside of a wine barrel looks like. So we have the outside of the barrel on one side of the bar and the inside of the barrel on the other side of the bar. And it's just a really cool complement contrast, I thought was really neat to indicate, you are in a winery and these are our tools. This is what we use to make a lot of the products. So it's kind of a fun way to express that. Health department, and now I'm glad we did it. Originally, we were just going to have this open so you could be talking to the staff in the kitchen, but we did put up the glass in the sneeze guard. And one of the things that's cool is when you push stuff up against here, it doesn't fall off. That was actually a problem. So all this glass work was custom. Basically everything in here was custom. We didn't do too much to the trusses above except for wash them. We didn't sandblast those, we just left them as is. So you can see where there were some leaks, and that's like the original glass from the windows above. One of the coolest features, I think, is the skylight, which if you saw it at night, we have it lit separately, so we have all this like glowing color that goes up into that skylight, which is really fun. And then we can change all these LED lights. They're under the bar and in the rafters. We can change all those to whatever mood we want. And then we can also dim all the kitchen lights at nighttime because the kitchen is actually really bright and it kind of ruined the mood. So I had everything changed to dimmers, which during the day you don't really need, but at night it's nice to dim it down. It gives it, a little more romantic of a feeling. So now we're behind the back bar, which was totally custom made. All of these steel shelves were engineered to be able to hold the amount of mead, and I don't remember exactly how many pounds are on these shelves, but these are a great talking point. So when people are sitting at the bar, they can, look at the label, ask the bartender to hand it down, take a look at it, see if it's something, this label's interesting, maybe I'll try it. Everything's available to go, but as you're sitting here, you can go through Untapped and look up the label and see what's what and how it's rated. There aren't many breweries or wineries in the world where they have 24 unique products on tap alone, not to mention the hundreds of different varieties of bottles that we offer, all of which can be poured or bought by the bottle, by the glass, by the taste. I was talking about the bungholes earlier. Our flights are all served on these custom-made flight boards, again, made from barrels. And here's an example of the back of this one. And they've all been worked so that you don't, get anything on you. But here's one of the bung holes. So these were really fun to have. We had a custom local woodworker make us, I think, 200 of these. So it took them about 4 months of working nonstop. So that's kind of fun. We have the standard flooring, which is standard in almost all the restaurants, is a quarry tile. It's pretty standard. And then, oh gosh, delicious pastries, all made in-house. Wonderful chef Javi. It's getting filmed. We're actually looking at getting more burners, more burner stove. We're kind of already out of room. And then our gorgeous custom-made wood-fired grill, where we can use charcoal, wood, you name it, everything that we serve for the most part. If it's cooked, it's cooked here. And we like to char things so you get a really smoky flavor. A lot of these are add-ons. We just had no idea how to make the space more user-friendly, so we started working up. So pastry side, so we've kept everything kind of separate, and gosh, all the spices you can think of. But we have our dessert menu is fantastic. Anna comes up with something new. Once a month? We do it every week. See what I know. Every week we're doing a new chef's selection dessert, and it's always amazing. But what we're really known for is our creme brulee. Everybody loves it. It's like everyone says it's the best creme brulee they've ever had, including myself. We have our walk-in cooler, which was custom made as well to run the length of the building so that it's not really part of the building. And then we do all our waters are bottled in our Mead bottles, so each table can have as many waters as they want, pour them themselves. So another thing we had to do this was actually a really big step. We just left the historic building, and now we're in a new, this was an add-on, an addition, I think, in the 50s. And so this was a step, and for ADA compliance, we had to remove the step and build in this ramp. Again, the addition of the penny tile to give it an authentic look, even though this is much newer. So we're entering a different vibe. Old school, custom, very Mead-like tasting room. And now this is going to be a little more modern with steel and glass, brighter lights for the shopping experience. All of these are different labels that we've put together. And we tried to kind of color code them. And Jeff and my son Luke actually hung all these on Halloween night. We were opening on November 1st, and on October 31st, we were still touching up the paint and hanging everything and all those finishing details. We worked all night so we could open the next morning, and it was totally worth it. Everything was perfect. Again, these were the original floors that were in here. They're all oak, and this used to be a dance studio. So there, where the, I'll show you when we go in there, but where the clothing rack was, there used to be a bar and mirrors so that the dancers could, practice their plies. When you come in, you'll be greeted by a hostess, and she'll take you to your seat. And if you have a reservation, this is where all the that end of the house happens. And then we have the merch room, which we've never had anything like this. This is our bottle shop and merchandise, where everything that we have available is out on display, so you can actually hold the bottles and read the descriptions, and some of the descriptions are really clever and creative. Jeff is in charge, my husband is in charge of the creativity side. So a lot of these labels and descriptions he came up with our graphic designer, and they're just, every single one's unique in its own way. Really funny descriptions, very kind of edgy. And then all our merch, we've got all kinds of t-shirts and hats. We actually just put these on the shelf yesterday. These are our San Simone candles, indicative of the, the similar style that you can find at like the dollar store. And then this is one of my favorite parts in here, was this custom piece of artwork. I have a stepsister who lives in DC, and she does custom leather work. She makes custom cowboy boots and jewelry and different pieces of art, and I just begged her, please make me something beautiful for my merch room, and this is what she came up with. And we worked together on it, on the colors and the bee and the prickly pear cactus, but I think it just turned out great. And we have a lot of people that like to take a picture next to this. So we have some of our best sellers. We can't even keep the cans of mead in stock. These fly off the shelves. This one is one of my favorites. It's called Mimosa, and it's a mimosa-inspired mead. It's a low % alcohol. We call it crushable, so you can drink more than one and not be drunk. It just tastes like a mimosa. It's sparkling, it's fresh. We do a Mimosa brunch board that's offered on Saturday and Sunday mornings for brunch, and then everyone wants this for their own brunch, so people like to take these cans home. This is another one of, this is our best sellers, the Marion mead. And so we have Lady Marion on here, and it's a blueberry, blackberry, and raspberry mead, but we sell twice as much of this as anything else on the shelves. And it's in an affordable price point. You can also kind of get it anywhere, but it's fun to shop here, obviously, because we have the biggest selection. Another really good one is part of our original Locavore series, which we only use local ingredients to Arizona. So a lot of the adjuncts that we add, like the blueberry, obviously Arizona's not known for blueberries, but some of the meads that we make only have Arizona ingredients, and this one's really fun because it's a pomegranate mead, and so the pomegranates came from Arizona. So this is a fun one too. And the smaller format bottles, it's less of a commitment. A lot of people are like, I can't drink a whole bottle of mead, but they can drink a half a bottle. This is another one of our best sellers. And this is where this is one of the barrel-aged meads, is a Lagrimas de Oro. It's a traditional mead, and what that means is there are no added flavors. This is just honey, yeast, and water fermented together, and then we age it in a bourbon barrel. So you can really taste the bourbon, really shines through. And the honey kind of cuts the edge off the bourbon, so it's very, we aged this for, I don't even know how many months and months, maybe even a year. And this is one of the most complex traditional meads you're ever gonna try. And if you like bourbon, you're really gonna like this.